But Brandon, let's end the podcast with our last ever here for this season of the Primetime Podcast. We are ending with our picks going through the bowl season from December 26th all the way through the semifinal games. And let's start it off. We've got the Utah 1 Utes, not 2 Utes, but 1 Ute. The last time I'm going to make that joke this season. We got the Utah Utes against the West Virginia Mountaineers. 77% going with the Mountaineers. I am going to go along with them. West Virginia over Utah.
Yeah, I'm going with West Virginia in this one as well. West Virginia.
Oh, I'm sorry. Zaxby's Heart of Dallas Bowl. Forgot to say that.
I'm going with West Virginia in this one. Obviously, reigning from the Big 12 conference, they know how to put up points, and they'll do it.
I hate this bowl. You want to know why? I referenced it on last week's podcast, Brandon. I hate this bowl because my heart was taken from me. My line, I finally made a bowl game. We're past that. We're moving on.
Back in when, 2011?
We're moving on. No, it was like, what, 2 or 3 years? It was like Tim Beckman's the year before his final year.
Before he started to make people play with concussions.
So maybe 3 years ago. But still, we're moving on. We got this. Lovey's hopefully got this. But we're moving on. The Quick Lane Bowl, the Duke Blue Devils.
They should have a slow lane bowl then, right? Just even it out.
Yeah, even it out. We got the Duke Blue Devils. Now we got the NIU Huskies. Moving right past that joke. Who you got?
I am going upset. I'm going with the Duke Blue Devils.
All right.
Their defense has shown a couple of times throughout the year that it can be pretty tough. It can be pretty stingy. I think that Duke will get the win here.
Well, we live in the great state of Illinois. So
Illinois or Illinois?
Illinois, however you want to say it, that's where we live. And I'm going with NIU, the Huskies, to win the game. Let's move on. The Cactus Bowl so I can take a drink of my nice, tasty beverage and my water. We got Kansas State. We're going with the Bruins. That's who I'm going with. Upset special. Josh Rosen and the Bruins to beat K-State. Doesn't really feel like an upset, but it's an upset because only 44% are going with the Bruins.
I'm also going upset. I'm going with the Bruins as well in the Cactus Bowl.
Then we're going to move on. We've got the Independence Bowl.
The Walk-Ons.
Southern Miss, the Golden Eagles, going up against FSU and the Seminoles. I'm going to go with the Seminoles. Like, part of me was like, do I go with Brett Favre's alma mater? But I said, no, I've got to go at Florida State over the Golden Eagles.
Yeah, I'm also going to say...
You moved your hand, and I was like, he's going to hit the button, isn't he?
No, I'm also going to say I'm going to go with Florida State. This one was a tough one because... And the reason why I say it was a tough one, because Florida State has been so bad since they lost DeAndre Francois. I almost said DeAndre Hopkins, but DeAndre Francois...
You got fantasy football in the mind.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm out of it. But they should be able to get this game. But not necessarily, but I'm still picking them.
I'm going to go with FSU as well. I just can't do it. However, the next game, the New Era Pinstripe Bowl, we've got the Hawkeyes, we've got the Boston College Eagles. I'm going to go with destiny here. 18% of people, I'm going to be one of them, picking the Boston College Eagles to upset the Iowa Hawkeyes in New York.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Iowa in this one. They ended up having a pretty good season. When you beat Ohio State, it's a good season, and they not only beat Ohio State, but they bent them over.
Well, from one Big Ten team to another matchup with a Big Ten team, we've got the Foster Farm Bowl. We've got Arizona, we've got Purdue. I am going to hit the button yet again and go with Purdue with 21% of people over the Wildcats.
Boiler up, baby. I've been hitting this fake button slash table
you have a buddy,
for the last couple of weeks.
You have a buddy that goes to Purdue, or did go, right?
He did go to Purdue. Many of his family members have gone through Purdue. One of his aunts works at Purdue. He kind of bleeds
so
anything
it was in the family.
Purdue. Yeah.
So it was in the family. Yeah. It was destined for him to go there.
Absolutely.
He was not going to. So he wouldn't go to it would be interesting. Family all works at Purdue. I'm going to go to Indiana.
No, I think he'd rather cut off his left foot than go to Indiana.
Yeah, that's why I said Indiana, because they hate each other. It would be like if you're like Ricky, you can go to only one school. You got to go to Northwestern. I'd be like, well, guess I'm not going to college. We're going to move on to the next game, though. We're going Outdoors Texas Bowl. The home team, the Texas Longhorns, going up against the Missouri Tigers. And Brandon, I'm hitting it again. I don't feel like this is an upset, but I'm going to hit it. Texas to beat Missouri in the Texas Bowl.
I'm doing the same thing in Missouri. I can't believe that they ended up 7-5. They're not that good, but I'm going to go Texas as well.
And then moving on, the Military Bowl on the 28th, we've got the Virginia Cavaliers at 6-6 playing the Navy Midshipmen at 6-6. I'm hitting it again. I feel like I have to stop saying upset special for this because I'm constantly hitting it, and it's not special. It's just an upset at this point. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Navy. It's the Military Bowl. They should be winning it.
Moving on, we've got the Camping World Bowl Thursday night, the 28th. You know who I'm going with, Virginia Tech and Oklahoma State. You know who I'm going with, so I'm going to let you pick first.
I'm going to go with Oklahoma State in this one. I think that their offense is just going to outmatch and outpower the Hokies.
Yeah, this is my second team is playing in this one, so go Hokies. I can't pick against Virginia Tech, and I'm looking at my future games that I picked. Next one, we've got the Alamo Bowl, Stanford. Now, here's the thing. Here's what I'm going to... Let's clear something out here. Let's clear something out.
Is there something in there?
There is something in here. Here's what we're going to clear out right now. This is the first time we're getting to ranked opponents in the bowls. What overrides what? The ranking or the
the hell with it. I'm going with the percentage. It's just too confusing to go with the ranking.
So we're going with the percentage.
We're doing percentage now.
Stanford, Bryce Love is going to have a game in this one. Kenny Hill might play good, but this defense, every time I've picked TCU's defense to come up big, i.e. Oklahoma games, they've let me down. Bryce Love and the Cardinal getting the win.
See, I'm going to go with...
You burn me once, shame on you. Burn me twice, shame on me. I ain't falling for it a third time.
That's funny. I'm going to go with TCU and the Horned Frogs because why the hell not? I'm going to say that they're going to be able to slow Bryce Love a little bit, and they're going to beat the Cardinals of Stanford.
And then we're going to go on to the Union Holiday Bowl. We're going the Washington State Cougars.
You missed part of it. The San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl.
I didn't want to say all that mouth throw up that you just said because that's a lot of words. We got the Cougars from Washington State. We got the Sparty from Michigan State. This is one where I'll give the button a break. MSU with the win. Luke Falk
probably broken.
Luke Falk throws about 2 INTs. LJ Scott has about 80 yards and a touchdown. Michigan State with the win.
I'm going to go with Michigan State, too. They ended up having themselves a pretty darn good season, 9-3 to end the regular year. They were good. They were strong. They bounced back, and I say that they're going to win this one.
Moving on, we've got the Belk Bowl between the Wake Forest Demon Deacons and the Texas A&M Aggies. I gave the button a break, Brandon. Demon Deacons with the win.
See, I don't think so. Texas A&M finally is happy that they are rid of mediocrity at the head coaching position. They're like, Kevin Sumlin, it's been fun at 8-5, buddy, but we have got to get better than that. I'm
going to make this reference on the onside kick, but if you would have told me at the beginning of the year that both coaches at the Primetime Podcast and the onside kick have talked about year after year after year should be fired in Kevin Sumlin and Marvin Lewis, I'd say you're out of your mind.
But here's the thing, though.
One of them getting fired, maybe, I would hope. Both of them, you're out of your mind.
But here's the thing, though.
One wasn't fired.
One was not fired. Marvin Lewis said, please. Before I kill myself, please, I need to leave.
It's like I said when I heard that news. I know it's off topic a little bit, but I'll say it. It was like you're giving him a free job to make millions of dollars, and you're so bad, he said, nah, I'm good. I'm going to go somewhere else. Free job? Nope, don't need that. I'm going to go somewhere else. That's what I'm going to do.
Well, but... I would say that's a separate topic, but it's something that they've been talking about for years, that Marvin Lewis and the Bengals need to just part ways.
But let's move on. Hyundai Sun Bowl, we've got
I said the Aggies, right?
Yeah, you did.
Who cares?
The Wolfpack from NC State going up against the ASU Sun Devils, who will soon be coached by Coach Herman, back in their Herm. Going Herm Edwards.
Coach Herm?
Yeah, Coach Herm. I'd call him Coach. You wouldn't call him Coach Herm?
You said Coach Herman.
Yeah, Herman Edwards.
Coach Herman, because I can't remember his last name right now.
You play to win the game, Brandon, and I am not going to go with the Sun Devils, going with the Wolfpack and Bradley Chubb to win the game.
Coach Herman.
Yeah, his name Herman.
It is,
I bet you his full name is Herman Edwards.
Herman Edwards. I do that all the time. I'm going to go with the Who am I going with? I picked the Wolfpack. I picked them.
Then we're going to move on. We've got the Music City Bowl, the Kentucky Wildcats going up against Northwestern. It pains me to say, Brandon, pains me and hurts my heart, but I've got to go with Northwestern.
Yeah, I got to go with Northwestern here, too. Again, another team, 9-3, had a really good season. And in Kentucky, 7-5. Good for them, but I did not realize they were 7-5.
Then moving on, we've got the Arizona Bowl, the Nova Home Loans Arizona Bowl, to say the full thing. We've got the New Mexico State Aggies, who I hate right now because they beat my Illinois Fighting Illini in basketball in the UC the other night, so I am not happy with the Aggies, but they're playing the other Aggies from Utah State. So we got an Aggie brawl here in Arizona, and I'm going with the Blue Aggies from Utah State.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Aggies to win.
Which one?
I know. Well, that was the point of the joke.
Texas A&M, that's who you're picking. The Aggies.
I'm picking Texas A&M again in this one, yeah. I'm going to go with Utah State for no other reason than I picked them.
And then we're going to go with, and I am changing this pick on the fly because I don't know how the hell this pick was made in the first place. This won't let me change it, but I'm going to change it anyways. We've got the Cotton Bowl. We've got USC. We've got Ohio State. I don't know what in my hubris made me pick Ohio State. Go Trojans! Sam Darnold with the W.
Yeah, this was one.
I don't know why I aggressively pointed at you.
I
was mad at you, like you stole my money.
This is one that I really kind of went back and forth on. Two really good teams, both 11-2 on the season. One still crying about the fact that they couldn't get in the playoffs, even though it was the right decision. Let's be honest about it. But I am picking the crying team, and I'm going to say that Ohio State wins this one. They win the Cotton Bowl.
When you look at it, though, they got the same fate Penn State got last year.
They did.
They beat the other team, so they beat Penn State. They had a bad loss in conference. This one was Iowa. They won their conference championship. Do you get the playoffs then? No, you get to play the Trojans.
You get to sit on the loser's couch and watch everyone else.
Not the loser's couch.
Yeah.
Your prize is you get to play Sam Darnold and the Trojans. Last year
Ricky, that's not a prize, buddy.
Wait. Last year we were talking about the Rose Bowl being one of the better games, and this could be just as good as that Rose Bowl from last year.
I know. I mean, now we're starting to get into a couple more of the bowl games that aren't more heard of and good matchups, but still, at the end of the day, these teams, they are playing for one thing. Two things. One thing, get in the playoff. Two, national championship. That's really all that matters. Again, I mentioned this to you when we were off the air, not on the podcast, and I said, Ricky, it's basically like you have the people in the playoffs, those are the winners, and then you have all these, thanks for playing this year. Here's a bowl game. Thanks for playing. Here's your participation bowl game. It's just stupid. I mean, I understand why they do it. I get it, but it's a bit much.
Then we are going to move on. We've got the Tax Slayer Bowl, and it is Louisville versus Mississippi State. Who you got?
I'm going with the Louisville Cardinals in this one, and I'm looking for Lamar Jackson to have himself a nice game.
Who do you think I'm going with if you had to take a guess?
If I had to take a guess, I'm going to go with Louisville. If I had a gun to my head, I'm going with Louisville. If someone was about to throw me off of a building and said I had to guess this right, I'm going with Louisville.
Do you know why I'm ppicking Louisville?
Because you have an infatuation with Lamar Jackson that you'll never get rid of.
Lamar Jackson. I'm a Lamar Jackson fanboy. Lamar Action Jackson, and the Cardinals going to get the win in a close one over the Bulldogs and Nick Fitzgerald. Then we move on the Liberty Bowl. Iowa State going up against Memphis, hitting the button because I like Coach Campbell and the Cyclones.
Iowa State, baby, you got to go with them. They've had such a nice season. Did a lot of great things. They beat Oklahoma. Oklahoma is in the playoffs. They beat them. Their head coach got an extension. Ohio State is on the, what is it, Ricky? The upclimb.
The upclimb, not the downclimb, the upclimb. Then we've got the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl as we are getting closer and closer to the end here. The Fiesta Bowl.
Hooray.
The Washington Huskies, the Penn State Nittany Lions. We talked about them last week. I'm going Saquon Barkley and the Nittany Lions to beat the Washington Huskies, a team that with 2 losses we hadn't really talked about much this year.
This is easy Penn State.
That's all? Nothing to add more than that?
No. We're so close to the end. Why would I add anything
Capital One Orange Bowl. Badgers, Hurricanes. I'm going upset. Now, here's the crazy thing. You might be asking, but Ricky, you said in the Hurricanes last game they only scored 3 points. Why are you going with them over the Badgers? Because I like them more than the Badgers. And the Badgers, I told you guys you were going to lose to Ohio State. Guess what? You lost to Ohio State. New fake ID. They now lose to Miami in Florida because it's the Orange Bowl.
Upset. I'm going Miami as well. Wisconsin, well, 12-1 looks good, but you're going to lose.
Now the next game, the Outback Bowl. This one I'm excited for only for one reason. You know what happened the last time these two teams, Michigan and South Carolina, met in the Outback Bowl, right? Jadeveon Clowney coming through unblocked, big hit, palming the ball. A fumble picked up by Clowney. However, South Carolina isn't as good as they were back then. I'm going with Michigan to beat the Gamecocks.
I'm going with Michigan as well. Can I pick who you're going to pick in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl?
Sure, Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, UCF against Auburn. Who you got?
I wonder. You're going to pick UCF. You're going to hit the button. And I'm going to go with Auburn
even without Scott
because
Frost,
I'm realistic and I use logic, so Auburn will win.
Still hitting the button, going with UCF. You know, I believe last time UCF was in a Fiesta Bowl. Well, this is not the Fiesta Bowl, but they were in the Fiesta Bowl. Blake Bortles was there with Storm Johnson. They won that game. I believe they upset Baylor in that game many moons ago. I'm striking with the Ides of that coming in. And
the Ides of March.
Channeling that Knights team. But moving on, we've got the Citrus Bowl presented by Obertons. And we've got ND, the Golden Domers against LSU. I'm going with Notre Dame only because I'm not a huge fan of LSU, and I think Notre Dame is better this year. They were in the playoff talk for most of it. I know you're going with Notre Dame, but tell me why.
I'm going with Notre Dame. I don't think that LSU's lack of a really good quarterback presence and Danny Etling is going to be able to really move the ball on this Notre Dame defense.
You've never been a fan of Danny Etling.
He sucks. He just kind of sucks.
Way to be blunt, Brandon.
Yes, I usually am. But outside of a couple of good games, that's about all he's been able to do. He hasn't done much. He has not done much. It's really been because of the running game and their defense. Notre Dame has a pretty good amount of firepower. I think they'll use it here. But that's why I think ND gets the win.
The final two. We talked about them today. We talked about them in this podcast. The first one, the Rose Bowl. Number 2, Oklahoma. Number 3, Georgia. We talked about and previewed the game. Now tell me who you got winning and why.
I'm so excited for this game. I think it's going to be a great game to watch. I think it's going to be the best game out of the two. I'm going to go with the Oklahoma Sooners, the best team in the country and the best offense for sure. I think that they're going to just have a little bit more than what Georgia's able to bring at them. Georgia's defense is very good, but they have not faced an offense like Oklahoma.
What do you think I'm going to do, Brandon?
You're going to hit the button.
Georgia with the win. That defense is going to be too big. They are going to stop. The run game is going to walk all over the conference without a defense. That defense is going to make Baker Mayfield throw interceptions. Jake Fromm has 2 touchdowns of his own, doesn't turn over the ball. The Bulldogs are going to the national title game. Then we'll move on to the last game. We are picking not of the season. We still have the national championship game next week, but number 4, Roll Tide against number 1, Clemson. Who you got and why?
Again, this is part 3. Alabama-Clemson, part 3. It is a game that many people are hyped up for. They're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm trying not to get too hyped.
You're being skeptical.
Because I think we've overhyped this game. But this is a wonderful matchup. And what happened in the first one? Alabama-Clemson. Alabama won. What happened in the second one? Alabama-Clemson. Clemson won. Ricky, do you like patterns?
I do like patterns, and I think I'm going to go with the same pattern as you.
I like patterns, too. So, you win one, you lose one.
Wait, are we talking like patterns
Ricky,
like
Jesus
something
Christ.
happens or like a pattern on a shirt?
All right, well, I'm not going to answer that stupid-ass question. So,
okay.
So
maybe it was a pattern
Alabama
on a shirt.
wins one.
Like on your shirt.
Then Clemson wins one. then who would come next to win one? It's the Alabama Crimson Tide. I'm going with Alabama.
Roll Tide. That's all you got to do in this one. Roll Tide. And I know that people, if you put 2 and 2 together, a few people may hate my pick because I feel like the national championship game that I just picked, most people don't want to happen. I do, and I'll tell you why. Kirby Smart, Nick Saban. Guess who I have winning? Well, I'm changing it on the spot. If Georgia and Alabama played each other, guess who I would have winning that game?
Georgia.
I think Kirby Smart could be the first Nick Saban assistant to beat him. What kind of storyline would that be? The teacher against the student, and the teacher loses to the former student. And Kirby Smart does it in the biggest game, the national championship, or as Phyllis would call it, the national trophy.
National trophy. But you know what? I actually think that would be a really fun one to have. Only
Oklahoma,
because
Alabama would be a great storyline too.
But I'm saying though it'd be fun and kind of cool to have that storyline of teacher versus student. Obviously it'd be something different from the last 2 years of what we've been hearing with Alabama and Clemson. But honestly, any storyline that we get, I think, is going to be a good game. Whatever teams we get to the national championship game, I think it will be fun. But I think we've got 2 really, really good games. I'm trying to think in my head. There's only 2 outcomes I want to happen from these games. I either want to see Georgia, Alabama, or Clemson, Oklahoma. Because I would like to see Clemson, Oklahoma, because it's like, ooh, the rematch. Can Baker Mayfield fight the demons of the last time he played the... we'll talk about all those, like ESPN will mention all those things. However, Georgia, Clemson, I wouldn't be upset with. The only one that I think I'd watch, but I'd be like, about, and the least favorite I would have is Alabama, Oklahoma. Still be a good game. Not saying it'd be a crappy game, but out of the possible matchups we could have, that would be the one that I would be least favorite about is Alabama and Oklahoma. And Brandon's looking at me like, great, you're just shitting on the national championship that I just picked. No, I think that actually, I think that you're wrong. I think that Alabama and Oklahoma would be an outstanding matchup for the final game, and with the championship game. But to each his or her own, right?
Well, this is where you guys come in. Let us know who you guys got picking.
We made
most of these games. This part of the table is really hurting. I hit that upset button quite a bit in these final few picks, but this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you think down below. A little housekeeping here at the end. If you like what you're doing, want to help us keep the lights on here at Most Valuable Podcast, check out patreon.com/Most Valuable Podcast. It has
really want to keep the lights on.
Well, I mean, if the lights went off, we couldn't do a podcast.
We could.
It'd be a dark podcast. They wouldn't be able to see us.
You ever used a candle?
Oh, we should do a candlelight podcast. You just blew my mind. We should do a candlelight podcast. Podcast by candlelight. Hashtag podcast by candlelight. That's what. Which hashtag do you like better? Hashtag candlelight podcast or hashtag candlelight or podcast by candlelight?
The first one.
Okay. Hashtag candlelight podcast. Let me know if you want to see a candlelit podcast. But then second off, we're selling MVP t-shirts. Check the description on how to get that and wear your own Most Valuable Podcast t-shirt. And then last but not least, if you're on iTunes, you have an iTunes, please give us that 5-star rating and then do the same for the Onside Kick, the Fast Break, and the Rick and Johnny podcast. Want to thank you guys for watching and or listening. Brandon and I will be back next week in the new year. This is our last podcast of 2017. How did you feel about it?
I felt really good about it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
How have you felt about our podcasts all through 2017?
I have loved all the podcasts all through 2017. We hope you have enjoyed our podcast through 2017. Hope you had a really Merry Christmas. We completely missed the boat on that one. We did not say Merry Christmas in the last podcast. Merry Christmas, though, for this one. And we hope you have a wonderful new year, because when we come back for the next one, it'll be 2018.
And Brandon and I will be there to kick off 2018 with you. And I thank you guys for watching and or listening. And as always, have a good day, everybody.